This time, on a very special Christmas episode of One More Rewrite.
You're not my real dad! Oh, and a Merry Christmas, fellow rewriters. Or actually, rewriters?
Rewriters.
Is that what we're going with? Because one OMRs always sound a little funny, but it's Christmas time and there are some funny things happening, like snow and sleigh rides and slick roads and people who don't know how to drive in the snow. But aside from that, there's also Christmas specials and Christmas movies. And I'm going to give you a little taste of the movies and TV shows that remind us most of this fair time of year. And would like to... let's just launch things off with the small screen and talk a little bit about TV specials. Now, we're not talking like TV episodes, because everybody's got those little, they're one-offs, but specifically those ones where, coming in 1 week, we've got the Christmas special, whatever, I don't want to say the Flash Christmas special, but, it's not something you'd normally...
It's the Donnie and Marie Christmas special.
The Donnie and Marie
It's the Colbert Christmas. Whatever. It's the one shots. The
one shots that has no relation to any other TV show. And I think it has to go without saying, well, actually it doesn't, or else I wouldn't be saying it. We're going to kind of break this up into nice and naughty. And for me, a nice TV special would be one of the ones that you always hear about this time of year, and you should, which is the Peanuts Christmas special. I mean, it's
a Charlie Brown
Christmas. It's a Charlie Brown Christmas. And it is pretty much all about Charlie Brown.
It is.
Except for the nice speech by Linus at the end where he actually quotes straight from the Bible, and it kind of gives you that Christmassy feel. I mean, what can be said about it that hasn't already been said other than, like, it's beloved? I think it's also, everybody says that it's beloved, and it deserves that merit because it doesn't feel cheesy or over the top. It doesn't have totally pointless song and dance numbers. In fact, the one kind of offshoot song and dance number gets quickly interrupted. Yeah. So you don't have that. And that's also something that's nice and timeless about it, is that the moment where the kids are all practicing for the upcoming Christmas play, it's kind of pandemonium rather than this, and all of a sudden everybody's singing and dancing and fa-la-la-ing. But I think the reason it's so heartwarming and endearing is because not only does it have great speech by Linus at the end where everything comes to a cold stop and he gives you, here's the true meaning of Christmas, but that throughout it has good moments and it has downer moments too. It has really downer moments.
Charlie Brown is really a sad sack.
Yeah. And everything from him getting the last tree on the lot, which is this sad droopy thing, to in comparison, Snoopy's house is this fully decked out, that neighbor next door who goes full on 8 bananas for Christmas time. In comparison, Charlie Brown's tree is this pathetic twig of a thing. Yeah. And you're just oh, this is what I got and I'm happy about it. Oh, I killed it. Yeah. And it's yes, Charlie Brown's a sad sack, but in a way that's what makes it all the more Christmassy, because he's not overly effusive and joyful, and he's not hopping up and down and excited to go Christmas present shopping or bouncing from mall to mall or doing one of 100 other activities. He's just, it's Christmas time, I want that nice Christmassy feeling that I get, and he's looking for that, but he's having a hard time finding it. So in a way, I almost would say part of the upbeatness we feel from it is because it's got so many downers to it. Yeah. In a way. And it takes Linus's speech at the end and them all gathering around and decorating the tree for him, and
and who has it doesn't just watch that speech. I mean, no matter who you are, it's a good speech.
It's a good speech.
It's a good speech at the end. And even, no matter who you are, if you just see a picture of that sad tree, you kind of think Christmas. Yeah. It's more Christmassy than even the giant tree totally all covered up with all of the tinsel and everything. Yeah. It's more Christmassy to me than even a giant tree all decked out.
Isn't that saying
that
something?
Sad little tree. That sad little tree is so Christmas to me.
That sad tree with the one little ball, Christmas ball hanging
one
from
little
it.
Christmas ball that like leans it all the way over, that it can't even support the weight of that one Christmas ornament that's put on it. Yeah.
And I think that's and hey, what a great metaphor, because, like, yes, they do trim it. The entire Peanuts gang gets together, and, like, through a Christmas miracle, it becomes a fully formed tree.
Yeah.
But that's kind of cool, and that's what's magic about it. But, yeah, you're right. There's something a lot more focused and more, like, it's happier, it's simpler, and it's like he was actually happy in that one moment he got the one ball to hang on there. Like, see, I'm decorating this. I'm having Christmas time, and that is... there's a lot of quietness in the movie.
Yeah.
In the special, I should say. There's a lot of quietness that you don't get from other specials, where it's just, let's take a moment and we're going to decorate this sad, pathetic thing, but by golly, we're doing it because it's Christmas time, not because we want it to be the best and biggest house on the block with flashing neon signs.
Like, it's something just for me.
Yeah.
Like, my Christmas moment.
This is my Christmas moment.
I appreciate that in it.
Yeah.
Of my Christmas moment of, like, hanging my one little red ball on the Christmas tree. Like, that's my moment, even if it's accompanied by the after of the whole tree leaning over under the weight of it.
Yeah. But, well, that's one that I had wanted to mention, and there was one Lunchbox here I wanted to mention, which comes to mind for him more so than my Peanuts Christmas special, or the Charlie Brown Christmas special, I should say.
It's a Charlie Brown Christmas.
It's a Charlie Brown Christmas, but I always think of it as a whole cast thing, even though when you watch it, you realize, it is really a Charlie Brown Christmas, because he's, he's the lead, so to speak. So you would want to talk.
I wanted to talk about How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yes.
With a slammer. Ding. That it really, it's so well done. I mean, you've got the narration by Boris Karloff, directed by Chuck Jones and Ben Washam, who also did Duck Amuck. That just really well put together show, like the narration over the top of it, Boris Karloff like doing it, and like, and his heart grew 3 sizes that day. It's just like, I know that it's kind of like after your Charlie Brown Christmas thing about how it's all about, having your moments and stuff. It seems a little crass almost, because it's about him stealing all the presents. And so it seems like now I feel like it's about him, like, taking everything from Christmas. But there should still be... Oh, yeah, because they do still feel
they still
the
feel
Christmas spirit, and that's what brings them back, is that they still
down there. They're still celebrating it. They still feel joyful at the end. They're not like sitting there going, wow, all of our crap was stolen. It's like, we're going to get out there, we're going to sing our song. It's Christmas time. It doesn't matter.
They sing the Whoville song, and everybody goes, oh, yeah. And that's why his heart goes 3 sizes.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's not because, like, oh, yeah, I should really give back all this. I should give back that LCD TV I stole or something, but because, like, I took everything from them that I thought it meant, from the tree to the trimming to the bells to the last little Christmas bauble, and it didn't matter. They were still had Christmas time.
They were still having their Christmas even without all of the gifts and trims and trimmings.
He even took the food. Just to be that extra sure that they were screwed over on Christmas. Yeah. He even stole the food from them, which, like, that's taking it to the next level. That's not like I stole the TV and the tablet and I took all of their new shoes and such. I took their food. So they go without food. You don't
get Christmas dinner.
You don't get Christmas dinner. Roast beef is off the menu.
Yeah.
And that's part of the awesomeness of it too, of his heart growing 3 sizes, is
because they do still feel the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
Even after all of the trappings of Christmas are gone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're right. You're right, it is the best Christmas movie.
Or Christmas TV special.
Christmas TV special.
I don't know if we can find enough other ones for next year that are better than this, but it really, I mean, like, yes, they're both animated, but one of the awesome things that you can do about animation, or with animation, is you can, yes, do a lot more visual metaphors that don't seem too ham-fisted.
Right.
And
like they did when they tried to make Grinch into a live-action movie, which turned out very poorly.
Yes, it did. And
don't bother.
I would not see the Jim Carrey Christmas, the Grinch. I mean, you've seen the pictures of it where, okay, he looks phenomenal in the makeup. He looks like a live-action Grinch. That's all you need.
It is. It's great makeup. And
that's about it.
I've seen that. Okay, next.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so those are our TV special one-offs.
And of course...
Okay. Just as a...
On your TV specials, you've got to mention the naughty.
Oh, yes. Our naughty TV special would be... We'll give this the briefest of mentions. The Star Wars Christmas special, which I have not seen all of. I've seen bits and pieces.
I have watched it all the way through, much to my chagrin.
The one thing I will say about it on the... I don't want to say even the positive thing about it, because you could probably pull it out and find it somewhere, is there was an introduction of Boba Fett via a cartoon.
There was the Boba Fett cartoon. That's exactly what I was going to mention.
I think
there's
that's
the
only
Boba Fett cartoon.
Oh, God, it's just... You want to talk about cashing in on the popularity of things, and we all get upset about that kind of stuff when it happens now, and you've got your Avengers tissues, and everything.
Everything Star Wars.
And everything.
Everything.
Yeah, and with the new movie having come out, The Force Awakens, it's everywhere again. But I hope to God they wouldn't think that they could try to do a Star Wars Christmas special, because it is legendary bad. It is awful. Just like a few minutes of this thing, and you've got to go take a hot shower and cleanse yourself.
Well, most of the film is entirely in Wookiee language, which I wish I knew the name of the Wookiee language.
Yeah, Wookieese or whatever it is, but it's...
But I'm not quite that much of a Star Wars dork. Almost. It was Peter Mayhew in the outfit.
Yeah.
Almost that much of a Star Wars dork, but I don't know the name of the Wookiee language. But it takes place on Kashyyyk, where
it's Life Day or something like that.
Yeah, Life Day, and Han Solo is taking Chewbacca back home for Life Day, and
aren't you filled with the spirit already?
Most of the show is actually in the Wookiee language with no subtitles.
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all. It is legendarily awful.
And we re-emphasize this because you think we're kidding when we say it's spoken without subtitles in this odd language. No, you watch it for a few minutes and you're like, really? You go through and you're going to hit the little CC button on your remote thinking, maybe I just forgot to turn it on. No, it plays out as is. Whether it's supposed to be heartwarming, funny, or sad, or whatever, you have straight up no clue, because it's just... Which is probably part of the reason why the animated portion with Boba Fett is what gets the most... I don't want to say the most praise, but it's the portion that people like from it, because it's
the only part that makes any sense.
It's the only part that makes any sense. For crying out loud, you cut to B. Arthur doing a cooking show in the middle of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. We'll leave it at that. Those are your nice and naughty TV specials. Just How the Grinch Stole Christmas, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Those are the ones you want to watch.
Yeah. Watch those.
Watch those.
Watch those over again.
Those are worth it. And it starts and ends there. Alright, so now we're going to move on from the TV specials, those one-offs, to actual TV episode specials. Those ones where they say, you've got Christmas decorations around, and the characters in that show that you watch are doing their thing where they have, Christmas time, because that's what happens around this time of year. The characters are experiencing life as we experience it. But, how do I say it? There's one particular show which it didn't have a consistent cast of characters, but it had a Christmas special. episode, and that I'll let Lunchbox intro you to. It's one you need to see.
Well, actually, Twilight Zone had a couple of Christmas episodes, I think 3 or 4, but there's really only one that you need to see.
True.
It's Season 2, Episode 11, available now on Netflix. Please watch it. Night of the Meek, starring Art Carney, who, of course, famously played Norton on The Honeymooners. He was Cramden's best friend. And as well as many, many other things. I don't want to diminish his catalog.
Yeah.
But probably best known for that. But should be known for Night of the Meek, which
Yes.
I think is just an incredible performance from him. He plays an alcoholic mole Santa. And he ends up getting fired from his job on Christmas Eve as a mall Santa, and he basically just tells the guy that's firing him, like, I always just wanted, just for one night, I want to be the real Santa. I want to be able to give people everything that they wanted. You know, that's all I ever wanted in life. And he ends up stumbling out into the street, gets thrown into the bar, and finds basically Santa's sack.
Yeah.
And he goes around handing out presents to everybody. And nobody believes that he's, actually has Santa's sack. And he ends up, he gets arrested for handing out presents that the department store thinks that he stole.
Yeah.
It's just this great, heartwarming story that, if you don't cry, you ain't human.
Yeah. If you aren't at least choking up a little bit, throughout it, you're like, yeah.
I originally actually I found the episode on VHS and would watch it every year. And now that it's available on Netflix, I can watch it every year on Netflix. And I have, because it's definitely one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, and probably one of the most Christmassy things ever.
Yeah.
It's just great of him, being able to be Santa for that day, which was his one great wish, was to be Santa for a day.
Yeah.
And, just the whole thing, really well done.
Yeah.
Written by Rod Serling, one of the ones that Rod Serling actually wrote himself.
Not that he didn't write most of the episodes of the Twilight Zone.
He did. There were some in there that he did not, but that was one of the ones that Rod Serling wrote himself. And so, really, really great show.
Great show.
And I don't want to give away the ending.
Yeah, so you don't want to give away too much, but
you gotta watch it. It's really
so
great.
worth it, and it's only 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think 22.
This is not that much time, especially if it's on Netflix. You don't have to worry about commercial interruption. You can watch it, sit down, and have a nice, time by the fire, sip hot cocoa, and watch a really nice TV episode of The Twilight Zone, which sounds weird to say, but it was a nice.
It really is.
Sweet.
It's not one of those weird supernatural, make you feel bad about yourself kind of episodes.
Yeah.
It's one of those I feel good and I'm happy to be a human being.
Yeah, I'm happy, and it's Christmas time. This is good.
Yeah.
Okay, and my Christmas TV episode is kind of for the nice list, I should say, is one that I actually had come to my mind at first, and I was like, nah, that's silly. I'll do something else, and I kept on coming back to it, and it's the Simpsons episode called "Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire." It's the one where they get their dog called Santa's Little Helper. But, this is years old and probably most people know it, but if you haven't watched it again, you should find it. And I cannot remember what season or what episode it was. I did look it up beforehand, sorry. So basically what it is Homer's trying to earn extra money around Christmas time, and he does kind of the same thing. He does mall Santa. He wants to be
mall Santa. Yep.
He's going to be a mall Santa. Great money there as mall Santa, apparently. So he gets his money, gets his pay. He doesn't think it's enough because he wants to give his kids more. So he comes across the typical kind of Homer Simpson logic of, I'll go to the racetrack and bet it, and oh, there's this dog.
Yeah.
And it's called Santa's Little Helper, and I'll bet it all on that dog because it's obviously a sign, even though Bart's there with him. And he's like, no, don't do it. This is stupid. Yeah. And, yeah, they lose all the money.
Yep.
And I don't want to give away too much more beyond that. Well, you probably see where it's playing out. Because I said it's where they get their dog and the dog's name. But all the interactions towards the end of the show are great. And it really does get Christmassy because you think everything's ruined. Yeah. But it turns it around in the end, and the way the characters interact off of each other, I have a hard time believing that I'm saying this, but it does feel really Christmassy for a Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
It feels really Christmassy. It's really heartwarming and family. It gives you that, like, I like my family, and they really pulled together here. And I won't give too much away of too much of the end, but it's worth a watch because of the way it leaves you feeling of that kind of family feeling that you want at Christmas time of like, these are the people close to me, these are the people I love, and it's great to be together here at Christmas time. And that's
exactly the opposite of The Simpsons.
Which is exactly the opposite of The Simpsons, but that's what probably makes it all the more awesome of an episode.
What makes it more heartwarming is that it's not what The Simpsons traditionally are.
Because it's not what The Simpsons traditionally are. It turns it on its head, but in a way that's, yes, surprising, but not in the kind of, well, that was out of nowhere, because it doesn't feel like
it builds right up to it.
It builds up to it. So that's the good thing. And I think that's a good segue into the naughty portion of our Christmas TV special. Not TV, I should say TV episode.
Episode list, yes.
Which would pretty much be everything else.
Well, yeah, just about. I mean, there's a few out there.
There's a few out there, and you probably, if you're listening to this, can name off a few, like, hey, I really like this episode of, and Lunchbox here mentioned Eureka.
Eureka
has a good Christmas episode.
Yeah, Eureka, the Christmas episodes of Eureka are some of my favorites.
And there are ones out there that are good, and maybe it's not quite as like, I think Christmas TV episode and my mind locks on to Twilight Zone, or my mind locks on to this episode of The Simpsons. But by golly, there's just a lot of garbage out there, like ones where
there's so many where it's the Christmas episode and
the family's something happens. The present is broken. It was left at the office. They forgot to do this, or somebody's supposed to be coming home, but they're facing all sorts of travel difficulties. And through the magic of Christmas, because that one guy there turned out to be an elf who was helping Santa, who turned out to be...
was the guy with the white beard? Was he Santa?
Was the taxi cab, that guy driving the taxi was actually Santa, and he helped Tim Allen to get home to his home improvement family? And, was that actually one of Santa's elves that helped out Michelle in that episode of Full House?
It was DJ.
It was DJ, okay. Was that Mall Santa the real Santa? There's variations, quote unquote, but it's basically the same episode over and over, and it really is just one of the things you don't like to see at this time of year, is the cheesy one-off episodes that are kind of in their own way trying to cash in.
Yeah.
I mean, they may not be selling a product on the show, but it's just like, oh, and here's our Christmas special where, look, there's the tree and the decorations and everything.
And something bad happens. And now we're not a family anymore. And, hey, that guy with the beard made us a family again.
Oh, and he found us
Santa?
Yeah, he found us this one present, which actually isn't a present. It's this thing from the attic. It was that special memento from that person who died, who really knew the true meaning of Christmas. Boy, I wish they were here right now. They'd hate to see us arguing. And I think we've covered about every TV episode.
I think it covers pretty much all of them.
I think it covers all of them, and you probably could actually have an hour-long special that would probably hit all of those notes.
Yeah, actually, I think I should write that, because I think I could make $1 billion. I
was going to say, I think you could sell that episode to somewhere, because that's just, that's all of them right there.
We could just sub out the names. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Yeah, well...
Who do you got? DJ, Michelle? All right.
Oh wait, that's not their names. They're Urkel and who? Well, okay, yeah, whatever. Same difference. Doesn't matter. All right, but yeah, we've got it covered for you. Watch Night of the Meek from the Twilight Zone. That's season 2, episode 11.
Season 2, episode 11.
And Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. Probably,
which I'm sure you can find.
Which I'm sure you can find on Amazon somewhere. All right, moving on to the bread and butter of the Christmas season. Well, maybe not quite bread and butter, but what we like to talk about most, which would be movies. So let's start off with the nice movie list. And it's hard to talk about Christmas movies and the nice movie list without mentioning, first and foremost, It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart. And it's just, I don't know, it's inseparable from Christmas. I think you think two things when it comes to Christmas viewing. You think A Charlie Brown Christmas, and you think It's a Wonderful Life.
And It's a Wonderful Life mainly because it basically played every Christmas and up in the public domain.
Yeah.
And because nobody went and saw it when it came out, like pretty much nobody cared.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, hey, this is a Christmas movie. Hey, we don't have to pay for it. Let's air it every Christmas.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened, is they just started airing it every Christmas because there was no royalties to pay to anybody, so
yeah,
just kept airing it, and it became kind of
synonymous with Christmas. Yeah,
Christmas. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets its wings.
Yeah, and it's, like everybody knows that line whether they've seen the movie or not.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's the only part of it they've seen because they turned the channel and it's ending on one station and ending on the next. And
yeah.
Or they have seen the scene with George Bailey running down the street yelling Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
But, really, if you've ever sat through and watched this movie, and I admit I was one of those people who had not seen the movie up until about 4 or 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. It was one of those ones I'd always, quote-unquote, meant to get around to. It's just like,
right,
it's a
you'd
classic.
seen bits and pieces, and so you're like, oh, I got the gist of it, whatever.
But yeah, really, it's not overly sappy. It also has
it's not as sappy as you would think with the every time a bell rings. Yeah, you kind of like expect kind of a sappy, kind of like silly thing, and it's basically kind of a
the beginning.
It's a Christmas Carol.
It's
kind
a Christmas
of
Carol
retold
kind
in
of
its way.
Yeah, and there is definitely that part where you've got like I'm blanking on the angel's name.
Clarence.
Thank you, Clarence. I was like, it's something goofy. You've got the angel Clarence, who's kind of a misfit angel who's trying to earn his wings, and he does so by showing George Bailey, or Jimmy Stewart's character, George Bailey, like that he's made a difference, that he means something, and he goes down and he stops him from, this is like right. The midpoint of the film.
Yeah, that's probably about. No, it's I don't know.
I think it's about the midpoint.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's been a while since I've seen it too, but I believe it's about the midpoint of the film. He comes down and stops him from jumping off the bridge and shows him all the difference that he's made and what the life. People do one-offs and riffs of this all the time anymore in those crappy TV special episodes.
And a bunch of movies that
and a bunch of movie specials that haven't done it nearly as well.
Yeah,
because he shows him what life would have been like if he had never been born, never interacted with these people. But the point, what brings him to that point, everything building up to that is, I don't know how else to say it. It just isn't as Christmassy as you would expect with like it happening at Christmas time.
Yeah,
because it does, like the main story that leads him up to the bridge is set at Christmas time, and it's something bad has happened. Bad has happened at Christmas time. Boy, I sound like Ian Malcolm here. Bad has happened.
Bad.
But leading up to that, you get like this snapshot of his life, what it's been like, and he has these high hopes, high dreams. He marries his high school sweetheart, and I think it has one of the earliest instances of somebody who's older playing a high school student, because Jimmy Stewart basically plays
he plays himself.
He plays himself in high school and in college too. I think it actually might be in college that it's set, but they're having very high schoolish interactions. But still, Jimmy Stewart never at any point does he look like he's in his 20s or something in this movie, but he plays himself as younger. Anyhow,
well, they do have the younger character where he's working at the soda fountain.
Yeah, okay.
At the very beginning.
At the very beginning.
Do have somebody else playing the George Bailey character when he's working with Soda Fountain. Is this your deaf ear? Yeah, we all remember it.
But, yeah, leading up to that, it's a guy with high hopes, these great expectations of what he wants his life to be, and he gets stuck. He gets stuck in this little town, doing all these things for people and trying to help people live their lives. Right. And he has his own, not his own bank, but basically investment thing to help people out. Right.
But it's owned by the bank, and the bank decides that they're gonna
foreclose on everybody and screw the town. Screw the town. It's like the ultimate Grinch here. Is just like, I can make more money if I booted you on the street. And he's trying to get the money together so that people have their homes, because he's willing to do that, like go the extra mile. And I think he takes it out of his own funds in his own bank, and he's trying to save this small town that the bigger bank wants to close.
Falls, yeah.
Bedford Falls. He's trying to save the town of Bedford Falls, and his assistant bumbles and loses the money, and he's basically screwed everything over, which leads George Bailey to the bridge, which is not just about the fact that, like, oh no, the town's screwed. Yeah. He feels his life is totally screwed because he never got to live out all of his dreams. He never got to do the things that he wanted to do. He was perpetually stuck in this town, helping people out. I mean, it wasn't even his business. It was like a family business that he took over, and he just kind of kept on getting stuck there. Like, oh, next year I'll go here, and I'm going to do this, and next year
I'm finally going to make something of myself.
Yeah, and so when his partner loses the money that they're counting on to save the town, he's devastated, not just because he's doesn't have the money to save the town, but because, like, his whole life has been doing this kind of thing, and now it's gone.
And he thought that it was going to be something different. It thought it was going to be something bigger.
Yeah. So
this wasn't I destined for more than this? Yeah. And he kind of, like, with the help of Clarence, kind of realizes that more than this? Like, you've done so much to make an impact on the people around you. Like, this is what you were meant to do. Yeah. And you were meant to help people. And then don't want to give away the ending.
Yeah, most of you probably know most of it, but yeah, and that's what makes it Christmassy. That's what makes it heartwarming. Is that it's again, hate to say this kind of thing, but it has so much dark things that happen. It's so sad because you can, like, I'm sure somebody out there. Not me, no. I'm sure a lot of us can.
I think that we kind of associate Christmas with darkness.
No,
I don't know why.
No, not the dark, not darkness, but like that you can really feel for and associate with this guy whose life didn't turn out how he wanted it to be or expected to be.
I think we all thought that we were going to be big and famous.
I thought I was going to be living in the moon, for crying out loud. I'm just kidding.
Next year, we're working on it.
Next year, like he does say that kind of a phrase in the movie. I can't remember quite how he puts it, but he is always talking about how things are going to be different later. Like next year, I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do this. I'm on this direction. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing. Like, this is the way I'm going. I'm getting out of here. But you don't realize how much of an impact you're making right now. Yeah. And that's kind of what the theme of the movie is you're making so much of an impact right here that why would you want to go out and try and do something else?
Yeah. And that's what makes it so fantastic. I mean, you watch this, and whatever somebody else might have told you it is, or it's like, or it's just cheesy Christmas fluff or something. It's got that angel, it's got that line, and blah blah blah. You know what? The stuff that's kind of cheesy is, I don't want to say forgivable because that implies that there's something to forgive, but you kind of like overlook it because of the overall message and overall tone of the film. Really, you want to talk about classic. I mean, we've prattled on for this nearly 10 minutes now, but it's so fantastic. It's not. Yeah. It's not.
I kind of have to go back and watch it again now.
Yeah, it's just so easy to remember as you're talking about it how fantastic it really is. And since we've been sitting here talking about something,
love that scene in the beginning where she's whispering and is this your deaf ear? And she whispers how much she's into him. I love that.
Yeah.
Maybe just because I'm half deaf out of an ear.
It's a very sweet moment, though. But
Relatable for me.
all right, so since we were talking about something kind of like classic and homey and whatnot, let's talk about something a little bit cheesy, but still, I think as equally enjoyable, which would be, well, maybe not equally enjoyable, but still pretty enjoyable, is Ernest Saves Christmas. Okay, now don't click the fast forward button or anything here. Bear with us. Ernest Saves Christmas is stupid.
Yeah.
It is dumb.
Yeah.
You'll hear no defense of saying, no, it's high art, and you just aren't smart enough to hear it. It is colossal.
No, you just don't get it.
You don't
get it, man.
I appreciate Ernest on a so much deeper level than you do. Don't even try. But really, no, it's fun. It's dumb fun. And it has arguably one of the best Santa Clauses ever, and he doesn't even wear the red suit.
Yeah.
But by golly, does he, like... Does the guy that they have who plays Santa is the same guy who voiced the Sultan in Aladdin. And it's that kind of happy, peppy voice, and he looks the part, but he doesn't have to, again, he doesn't wear the red suit, but he... Golly, they hired Santa. You know,
Yeah.
They said, if you ever wanted, like, that TV cheesy special moment, and they like, was that guy really Santa? And you leave that show thinking, was that guy really Santa? Because... Like, you know, Ernest does his Ernest thing. He's acting like goofball. He does those corny impressions that are I admit it's still a guilty pleasure. I actually really like his weird kind of swamp person persona with the snakes and whatnot. The whole scene where they dump snakes in the back of his truck and he's like, ah! Totally mugging for the camera. I still get a kick out of, but... In short, basically...
Ear breaks.
It's got a lot of cheesy, corny moments that are funny. Well, let's quick summary of the plot. So, Santa Claus has come to town, Miami. Yeah. And he's looking...
Like you do.
Like you do. But he's looking for the next Santa Claus. He wants to pass on the mantle because it's a thing that has to be passed on. That if one person holds on to it for too long, everything that is... Christmas and Santa Claus will die away, which sounds a little cheesy, and it is, but it's still...
Yeah, it kind of is, yeah.
It kind of is, but it's a sweet kind of cheesy. So he's looking for the right person for the job, and he thinks he's found it in this guy who's essentially a, I don't know, Bob Ross / Mr. Rogers amalgamation, who does his own kind of puppet show thing for kids on TV, but he wants to break into movies, but he still has that kind of, like, no, we gotta be nice and do this for the kids. And... You know, the real Santa wants to the real Santa wants to pass on the torch to this guy because he's picked him out as the most deserving, most worthy to carry on the Claus name. And, you know, Ernest gets in the way, Santa's magic bag falls in the hands of a runaway, and the hilarity ensues. And there's
hilarity ensues.
Yeah, it's cheesy. I think we could probably just say cheesy, and then move on to the next movie because it is cheesy. But it has a lot of funny moments in it that are... They're slapstick, and they're enjoyably slapstick. I think that everything that would annoy people about Ernest is in this film, but you know, on the other side, everything that you love about Ernest is in this film. And in a way, for an Ernest movie, it's actually kind of toned down a bit.
Yeah, it is. And I think that what makes it a little bit more relatable.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, definitely, I think the second best Ernest film out of all of them.
The first being Goes to Jail.
Goes to Jail. Obviously. Obviously. Come on.
Because he plays both the straight man and the funny man.
Yeah, and you really get to see Jim Varney's range there.
You get to see Jim Varney have a range, which is great, because you're like, wow,
yeah, because you realize, like, this guy can really act,
this guy can act, he just does the Ernest thing, because that's what pays the bills, and that's what he enjoys doing. But yeah.
And he was having fun with it.
And he was having fun.
You can really see how much fun he's having with it in Saves Christmas.
Yes.
Saves Christmas, you really see, like, he's having fun with it, and... because it seems enjoyable for him making the show, and him doing the character. You kind of feel that, like, kind of fun with it, and it's cheesy and silly, and
but I think you hit the nail on the head.
So
there is that
cheesy they might as well have called it Ernest Saves Cheddar.
Yeah, really. But you've hit the nail on the head. I think it's that because you think. You can kind of feel that from the cast, that they're enjoying themselves in this kind of cheesy Christmas special, which I think if you... Well, it's not it's not a Christmas special, but you see Christmas specials, and you get that sense of we're going through the motion because it's a Christmas episode, and nobody on the cast sells it. Or those Christmas movies where nobody on the cast sells that they're having a good Christmas time.
Nobody's having any fun on this. Nobody's enjoying doing this. But you have just kind of like an enjoyable movie that it seems like everybody making the movie was kind of having fun doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I don't think they really cared at that point whether this darn thing made any money or whatever.
It's like we're making an early-stage Christmas movie because it'll be fun. There.
Yeah, because this is going to be fun, and maybe a couple of people will watch it.
Yeah.
You know?
To me, it's like a beloved Christmas classic because it's... Yeah, it does. It has that, like, we're enjoying ourselves here. Like, if you guys enjoy it too, that's great, but we're having fun, you know?
But we just made a movie for our friends. Whatever.
Yeah, we made a movie for our friends. And I still love it. Yeah, I think one of my favorite movies still is the, you know, like out of the blue monster bashing it. It's like, and the real Santa coming to find the guy, and he finds him on a movie set, and it turns out to be a horror film. Not Christmas Sleigh, SLAY. You know, like Christmas comes in, or you know, he thinks it's Santa, but it's actually a monster, and the real Santa freaks out and whacks the producer on the head. Lots of goofy moments that, again, in a TV Christmas show special thing would have you going, oh my gosh. But because they seem to be really going over the top.
Because it is so over the top in so many spots that you just kind of go along with it.
You go along with
whatever.
it. You go along with it because they're going along with it. Because they're in the moment, so you're there with them, which, yeah.
He's like, forget it, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go with it. You know, like everybody believes that they're actually there. I believe they're there too because they're just enjoying it. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess since you've got Christmas cheese, the natural transition is into Christmas horror.
Horror!
Yay! And what better way to talk about Christmas horror than Gremlins? Because really, when you think about Christmas time, you think about giving presents like your own little mogwai that spawns hell creatures that
exactly,
you know, devour the town, destroy, pillage.
Right.
They're little pirates, actually. So what was this, Joe Dante?
It's Joe Dante, yes. And it starts out with Hoyt Axton, of course, stealing a pet for his son.
I was going to say, really, the whole impetus for the movie starts off because the dad, played by Hoyt Axton, is out there.
He was one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time.
Singer-songwriters of all time.
Not a bad actor, but
and a semi-decent actor. Goes out and he plays this crackpot inventor, and he happens into this odd kind of oriental shop where this guy happens to have this very bizarre, interesting pet. It's some odd creature he's never seen, and
tries to buy it.
The guy won't sell it, and he steals it. And basically, like, I can't remember if he gives him a smokeless ashtray or whatever in return.
I think it was a smokeless ashtray, yeah.
But like, he essentially steals this.
That continually smokes, or
yeah, and that's part of the gag of the film is his quote unquote smokeless ashtray actually pours out more smoke than you put in. Yeah, great sight gag too, by the way. Everybody who gets this thing isn't. But yeah, he essentially steals this thing, and from there, I mean, even if you haven't seen the movie, you know the rules. You know, it's like don't feed them.
Knows the rules.
Yeah, don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. And
that's midnight Eastern time, by the way.
Yeah. And never ever, actually the third was never ever feed them after midnight. Don't let them see the light or whatever. And it's like don't get them wet because they multiply. And I always found it weird because when they get wet and multiply, it's not like you get a dozen more cute little fluffy mogwais. You get you get
gremlins.
You get gremlins, but they don't turn green until after you feed them after midnight, which you aren't supposed to do anyway. But it's
midnight Eastern time.
But the little puffballs that emerge from a wet mogwai aren't nice. They're always like they're always got like a slightly mean bent to them. And then
it's kind of like what's the multiplicity.
Multiplicity.
Where
every time you make a copy,
you make a copy, it gets duller and duller. And so you make a whole bunch of copies, and they're all duller than the original.
Okay, maybe I could see it that way, but that was one part that always puzzled me. That's
the rules. That's the rules.
Is that for some reason, like, Gizmo's like the one sweet little creature in the world,
right?
And everything else
is Howie Mandel.
Yeah, because it's Howie Mandel, and it's just like,
Gizmo.
Yeah, your offspring are horrible little beasts. But yeah, okay, so yeah, all the rules are basically broken. Multiple Mogwais are produced. Gizmo's the only good one. Some idiot feeds him after midnight because the little Mogwai spawn sabotage the clock, and then they turn into these odd pod creatures, and basically as they're going around this small town, they're like on a killing, drinking, murder spree because they're gremlins. I mean, they obviously murder. I don't know, maybe not obviously, but these little creatures go around. They off the police. They murder
the science teacher.
The science
teacher's like the first one to go.
The science teacher's first one to go, but he's not exactly a sympathetic character. He's like trying to pull. For some reason, this high school teacher is pulling weird experiments on the gremlins, so you're not exactly sympathetic when he dies. But
or the old grandma that dies with her electric chair going up the thing, but that freaked me out when I was a kid. Of like the going up the staircase and just flying out the damn window.
Yeah, but yeah, so this whole night of killing, death, and destruction kind of winds down with watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, as one does, and laughing and enjoying it. As Billy Peltzer puts it, they're watching Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they love it. And it's okay. So this is kind of one of those goofy monster horror movies that has like a mixture of, you've got the death and destruction that the creatures cause with a bit of comedy thrown in, which I think
which is kind of Joe Dante's hallmark, though. I mean, he made the original Piranha. Yeah,
I was gonna say it's kind of a Joe Dante hallmark, and it's also kind of a hallmark of like the '80s kind of horror type of movie, monster movies.
Yeah, pretty much any 80s horror film had some comedy in it.
Yeah, but and it's all set at Christmas time, and the funny thing is that I'm okay with that as thinking of it as a Christmas film, because really his dad is trying to give him this really nice Christmas gift, and there's stuff happening around town that's all kind of Christmas related, and it's nice to see like Billy and his girlfriend get together, and it has that weird story that she just goes off and tells about her dad dying.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, Phoebe Cates,
this whole holy dark moment in the middle of an already dark film.
Yeah. Hey, you don't want to talk your dark comedies.
Yeah. But
this one nails it on every level.
Yeah. But it's Christmas.
It's very Christmassy.
It's very Christmassy, and it's not the first thing that comes to your mind immediately when you think Christmas time movies. But if you're the type who really wants to watch a Christmas horror movie, then pop in Gremlins, because it takes place at Christmas time. There's decorations and stuff, and at the heart of it is his dad
and
trying
snow
to
everywhere.
And snow everywhere. There's snow. Okay. And at the heart of it, there's a dad trying to give his son a really cool Christmas present.
Yeah, and it is a really cool Christmas present as long as you don't feed it after midnight or get it wet.
Yeah. Or like accidentally expose it to a potentially like skin flesh melting sun.
Yeah. No sunlight. Yeah, no.
No sunlight. Breathe. Yes, Howie Mandel as the voice of Gizmo is just always still adorable as, highlight of the film. One of the highlights.
Yep.
Well, I guess then it's time to move on to that most Christmassy of movies. The one that's a true holiday classic. I would say almost even more so than It's a Wonderful Life.
On 34th Street?
Close. No, the Christmas movie.
Oh, Die Hard.
Yes, Nakatomi Plaza, 1985. Was he for Bruce Willis? We're talking Christmas gold here.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a holiday classic. I mean, Bruce Willis saves the day against Alan Rickman as a terrorist.
How do you beat that? Come on.
I mean, really. I mean, there's a meme going around this Christmas, too. I don't consider it Christmas time until Hans Gruber falls from the tower. It's great. It's It's Christmas. It's everything you could want in a Christmas movie. It's got action. It's got guns. It's got Bruce Willis. It's got explosions. It's got Bruce Willis.
Yeah, well, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, really. And I forgot to mention it has Bruce Willis.
Is Bruce Willis in that?
Yes. It also has the dad from Family Matters playing a cop.
Reginald Val Johnson.
Yeah, which I think he always plays a cop whenever he's in a movie.
Yeah, he pretty much does.
Hey,
he kind of looks like a cop.
He kind of looks like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? No, cop. He plays it so well. Even I would say almost better so than he did in Family Matters because he's not having to ham it up for the camera.
Yeah.
He actually does a really good job in both this one and in the second one, which was also set at Christmas time. Die Hard 2 was also at Christmas time.
Yes, and I remember how upset my friend Chris was that Die Hard with a Vengeance wasn't set at Christmas time.
I know.
He's like, these are Christmas movies. It's supposed to end with Let It Snow. What are you doing?
Yeah, really. And it does. That was one great disappointment.
Because the first film starts out with Christmas and Hollis at the beginning of it and ends with Let It Snow.
Yes.
And that is what makes it a Christmas movie to me. It's like you've got it bookended by Christmas songs.
Got it bookended by Christmas songs.
And two of the greatest ones, really. I mean, come on.
Really. And it takes place during a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And they got like terrorists busting in, trying to take over. It seems like they're doing one thing, but it's doing another. And really, this was a whole genre starter in itself. Right. I mean, yes, there's action movies, but after this point, people have started calling certain movies where a terrorist takes over place X. It's a boat.
Supposed terrorist, but he's actually doing something else.
Yeah.
But it's action movie in a confined space.
Action movie in a confined space.
That was what was Die Hard, was what made it Die Hard on a... It's Die Hard on a plane. It's Die Hard on a ship. It's Die Hard on a...
Yeah.
Because it's action movie in a confined space, and Die Hard with a Vengeance ruined that.
Yes.
Because I don't think that New York City counts as a confined space.
No, not really. And it's...
And it just got worse from there. I mean, they're talking about the whole world.
Yeah, well, the thing is it's like Bruce Willis had to save increasingly bigger things. First, he's saving a tower. Next, he's saving an airport. Next, he's saving New York City. After that, he's saving all of America. And then in the most recent one...
Gotta get the odds, gotta increase.
The odds have to increase. So yeah, the fourth one was basically stopping terrorists from getting nukes or something. So he's basically saving the world. So I would naturally, after that, see Armageddon as the spiritual successor because he's saving the entire planet and possibly the solar system. Whatever Die Hard 6 is going to be, he's going to have to go out there and stop the terrorists from opening up a black hole. That's the only way this can progress.
Yeah, it's basically got to be Armageddon. Otherwise... Yeah, not going to happen.
And that's my guess. And past that, then you have to have some sort of maybe thing that takes place for Die Hard 7 on a metaphysical plane with him as like an angel fighting Satan. You're
right. Yeah,
I think that's where the series is going to have to end.
And then you're basically back to Star Trek 5 where Kirk is fighting God. I mean,
it's all connected, people. Don't you see it?
Anyway, it's all everything comes together.
Okay, so what we're saying is Merry Christmas. Yeah. So how do you get it back from that? Really, it takes place at Christmas time. It's it may not necessarily.
It's got two of the greatest Christmas songs of all time. Although the Christmas song is obviously the greatest Christmas song of all time, but I love Mel Torme.
Yeah.
Or is it Winter Wonderland? I'm kind of a toss-up on those.
Yeah, but
I think I might think a Christmas song.
I don't know. Let It Snow, but really...
Let It Snow? Is it Let It Snow? You think Let It Snow?
I do agree. I don't know. There's a whole bevy of Christmas
songs. Is it Christmas in Hollis? Is that kind of the modern great Christmas song?
Maybe. I would like to... We should probably wrap up this thing before we get too horribly off track, because Die Hard is such a great movie. It's easy to just go off on it in particular. We're trying to keep it Christmas focused, but if you want something that's kind of Christmas themed and you're like, I've got to feed that action need for me, but it's Christmas.
I want an action movie, but it's Christmas time.
Die Hard.
Definitely watch Lethal. Wait.
No, not Lethal. Well, I guess Lethal Weapon is at Christmas time, but really, Bruce Willis.
It's Die Hard. It's Die Hard. It's got to be
Die Hard. Bruce Willis. There we go. Alrighty, since we've talked about those nice Christmas movies, naturally you've got to move on to those naughty lists, see who gets a big fat lump of coal, and apparently it was the audiences that watched these movies. So we're going to launch right off with a holiday not classic based on a not classic book, and that's called Christmas with the Cranks, starring Tim Allen, and I almost said Jodie Foster, but that's not right.
Kirstie Alley?
Kirstie Alley, no. Scream Queen herself, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as his wife. And it's based on a book called Skipping Christmas by John Grisham. Yes, that John Grisham who wrote all those like law novel type things. And I was paid to see this back in the day. Just to give you an idea, this is a time when...
You got paid to see it and wanted your money back.
I got paid to see it and wanted to give... Like, can I ungive you the money that I was paid to see this? Because, by golly, it was terrible. It was just everything you would hate about a cheesy movie trying to cash in on Christmas time. It's got ridiculous pratfalls. It's got comedic actors that are poorly used. It's got... like a goofy...
It's got Jamie Lee Curtis.
It's got Jamie Lee Curtis, who should be in a horror movie. A cheesy Christmas horror movie, but not like this. Not like
Silent Night, Deadly Night, maybe.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, maybe. But really, it's just a mess. So the basic impetus for the movie is what the book is based on, called Skipping Christmas. So you've got Tim Allen. He works as like some high-powered business person at a firm, and he's kind of burnt out from Christmas time stuff obligations, and that happens. But he also starts like doing number crunching and sees that they spend like $7,000 or more at Christmas time.
As we all do.
And it turns out his daughter's not going to be home for Christmas. Their one and only kid isn't going to be there. And he's basically runs this by his wife that maybe we should let's go on a personal holiday. We'll go on a cruise. Just spend all that money that we normally spend on like decorations and a fancy Christmas dinner and all that. Spend it on ourselves. We deserve a break.
Doesn't that sound like a great idea? I mean, come on, really.
It doesn't sound terrible. And here's the problem, though, is that both of them, like Tim Allen's character and Jamie Lee Curtis' character, there are such unrelenting jerks that you don't feel any sympathy for them. Like, it has such tired cliches throughout the movie of, like, I'm going to frighten away the carolers. I'm going to not put the stupid traditional Frosty the Snowman thing on my roof that everybody else in the neighborhood does. I'm not putting up Christmas lights. But it's not just like... He doesn't do anything in a muted way, like, you know what, my wife and I just want to get away this year. Like, I know it might seem kind of a bummer, but it's all played like this over-the-top laughs. And it's not ever funny. It's supposed to have hilarity ensues, and it never does. And I can't emphasize enough how much you really despise these characters, and you're spending all your time with these characters. And it's not that level of, I'm spending all my time with the bad guy, and isn't it interesting to see their character develop? It's like being locked in a room for 2 hours with people that are just unmitigated bleep holes. You're just like, I can't stand being with these people. This is like everybody's worst nightmare. I'm stuck at like this party where everybody's like only talking about how they love themselves, and can't we go now? Please, can you fake going to the bathroom and fake throwing up so we can go home? Can you fake an emergency call, please? Because this is horrible. And I can't think of anything nice to say it. It has even some of the tropes that I hate about, like, TV Christmas one-offs with, oh, that was really Santa in disguise for some reason. And, did I mention how much I hated the main characters? It's like, you can have bad guys be the main characters or people who aren't lovable.
Right, anti-heroes.
And you can have...
I love a good anti-hero.
A good anti-hero can make for great storytelling, but this is just like... being locked away with your worst boss and your worst friend, and it has Dan Aykroyd in it too, terribly miscast as this goofy over-the-top neighbor who's like really into the Christmas spirit and doesn't understand why Tim Allen's character isn't. And this movie followed on the heels of The Santa Claus and The Santa Claus 2, so here you had a guy who learned all about what it was really like to be in the Christmas spirit because he becomes Santa Claus, who's now playing this total selfish jerk who, even at the end of the movie, it's not even until the last 5 minutes, I don't even feel like I'm spoiling anything here, that he has this...
Well, you're not going to watch it anyway, because we're telling you not to.
We're telling you not to. And it's not until the last 5 minutes that he has, like, this semi-sympathetic turn, but it's like, it's too late. You can't rewrite half the movie with, like, a sudden, I feel bad for my neighbor whose wife has cancer, because it's just... It's like, well, that was unexpected. Like, you were a totally selfish jerk. You didn't care that his wife had cancer before, but now you do because the movie's going to be over in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And you feel that, too. I was paid to see this. Did I mention that? God. Anyway, I don't know if you ever saw it, but just... If you see it there, and I think it's actually on the quote-unquote Christmas section of the of Netflix right now, don't watch it. Don't waste your time. We're all about rewrites here, and I can't think of a single way to save this, bar rewriting, like, literally half the movie, which I wouldn't bother doing. This is just...
It's just too much work to try and rewrite that much.
It's just too much work to rewrite that much from the ground up. But yeah, I don't know. Have you ever seen it, or was it one of those ones?
I have not seen it.
I was gonna say you probably saw the ads and like I pass.
yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I guess that leads us on to another movie that should be passed. I didn't see, but I saw.
You haven't seen?
I saw. I haven't seen all of it. I saw the first reel of it. That's first 20 minutes basically, and the last 5 minutes of it. I walked out after 20 minutes because, unlike Lunchbox, I don't stay for the whole thing if I've been insulted too much. I'm just like, nope. I'm done. And this was back in the day when I could see movies for free. Because working at the theater, it's like, nope, want my money back.
No, want my money back. I accidentally wandered into the theater. Now I want my money back.
Sure. And that would be Bad Santa, starring Billy Bob Thornton. And holy cow, what a...
Yeah, it was just... No, it's... Okay, so I kind of understand. It's one of those things... I was listening to Penn Sunday School, and Penn Jillette was saying that he was talking about some movie, I don't remember which one, but he said that I would rather hear the pitch for this movie than watch the movie. Yeah. It's like the story seems like a good idea, and so the pitch seems like it would be like, wow, hey, yeah, I like this story, but the actual execution,
that's what should have happened.
yes, execution. Heck, it was just offensive for no reason.
Yeah.
And just...
It was dirty, filthy, and crude, which was the point, but
it was the point. And in fairness, I watched the theatrical version when it came out and did not like it. Thought it was pretty awful. But to be fair to the film, I watched the unrated version too. Like, as soon as they released the unrated version, I watched the unrated version because I thought maybe they cut out all the good stuff.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. Like, because I had seen Dodgeball.
Yeah.
And Dodgeball, like...
was a movie, yes.
The rated version, awful.
Okay, that's, in all fairness, I've never seen the unrated version.
The unrated version is basically an entirely different movie.
Oh, really?
Wait,
I think we've mentioned
it's like
that
all
before,
different shots, all different, like, it's basically an entirely different movie. So I went, okay, well, maybe Bad Santa's like that. Maybe they just went with an entirely different movie for the rated version, and the unrated version is the good one. And no, it just makes you sad to watch. Well, basically, the story is Billy Bob is not good Santa. I don't remember much more than that. It was just, I've tried to block it out of my memory.
I'll give you a little bit of it because I sadly remember what little I saw is he's this happens a lot. Mall Santa, who's a drunkard,
Right,
who goes and gets his money, his booze money every year, and gets a whole ton of it doing Santa Claus routines everywhere.
Right.
And he's really a disgusting, filthy pig, both on the job and off, which is probably another reason why it's just kind of like, it's not even like he tries to or does anything like kind of, I don't want to say sweet or funny when he's being like the filthy slob as Santa or not Santa. And it's one of those things that leaves you feeling dirty because he's like in some way defiling Christmas, and not in this kind of like, haha, isn't this funny? I'm like a schmuck who can't even put my beard on right for the kids.
Right.
It's like, dude,
because you kind of like
I'd be that guy at the store hopping the fence and throwing this guy out, saying like, "I'm sorry, kids, this guy beat up Santa and he's like stole his spot. We'll find the real Santa for you." Try to say, it makes you sad.
Right. You have to have some redeeming thing, like at least be sweet in some sense.
Yeah, and that's what makes Night of the Meek so good, is because he's sweet in a sense.
Because he really just wants to be the real Santa. And that's what makes that great. But
in the same way,
Billy Bob just never has any kind of redeeming quality about him.
In the movie. That's not a reflection of his thoughts on his acting career.
Well, Angelina doesn't seem to like him anymore.
No. But really, there's like nothing there. There's not even like a scrap of something that makes you feel sympathetic.
And in fairness, there is parts where he is in the house with the family, like more toward the end, that you didn't see, where he does have some moments that are supposed to be sympathetic.
Is it again a case of too little too late?
You just don't feel it because you've had so much overwhelming, this guy is an awful
again, you can't rewrite your character like 15 minutes before the end. You can't have him have his turn.
You can't have his turn. You need to have an arc, not a cliff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work. You don't believe that character would do that, and it just it doesn't work at all. No.
Yeah, really. And again, abysmal. And don't even bother with the unrated version. Like I said, I saw the first.
And there are many films that I would say, watch the unrated version, don't watch the theatrical version.
Or don't watch the theatrical version, watch the director's cut. Where it
makes more sense. Or
it's a better film, like Dark City.
Dark City.
Being like a prime example of don't watch the theatrical, watch the director's version.
Or Blade Runner.
Which makes even less sense, but hey. But yeah, really, no, it's a truly awful film. Again, I'm only basing this off of like 20 minutes at the beginning and 5 minutes at the end.
And I've seen the whole thing, and I agree that it's awful.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd ever want to see a slime ball who just continues being a slime ball. It's just like...
And it's pretty much a slime ball through the whole film. I mean, like he's got his redeeming moment, which is totally unbelievable because he's a total slime ball.
Yeah. and nothing makes it even worse than a ham-fisted moment that's just like totally pounding away.
Right, and it's just like, hey, let's...
Oh, yeah, Christmas movie, Christmas message.
Christmas, quick, Christmas movie, everybody in their places, Christmas movie.
Yeah, really, yeah. Okay, good, okay, carols, yes.
Yes, somebody sing, hark the herald
That's actually what I was thinking too. It's like, quick, sing something vaguely religious, we gotta save this. Yeah, I believe it tanked back in the day too, which is why you've got like, I think there are like 3 versions on disc now. But anyway.
Yeah, it's not good in any version.
So, that's Bad Santa, and we're going to move on to talking about a movie that actually mainly Lunchbox is going to move on to.
And even worse Santa.
But we're going to keep this a little bit brief, because,
Because there's not a whole lot to say about it. Okay, fair enough. But I think it was hilarious that you mentioned in Ernest Saves Christmas, him running through the set goes, it's not sleigh, it's slay, S-L-A-Y, because there actually is a film called Santa Slay.
Like, that was done for a joke back in the... Yeah, anyway.
Starring the world's biggest Jew, Bill Goldberg, who won billions, I think. of title fights, and was, huge, huge star in WCW and then WWF
and WWE. He's a little choked up with the Christmas spirit.
Got Christmas spirit stuck in my throat. Yes, and WWE. And actually, I think it was WWE by the time he got there.
Okay, but he was a better wrestler than
better wrestler than actor. I don't know. Bill Goldberg, all right as an actor. But Santa sleigh, basically, Santa is a demon who lost a bet with an angel, and so had to deliver presents for
Satan. What? No. Oh, for all of time.
For a certain number of years.
Okay.
Like 100 years or whatever, and so his time delivering presents ends, and now he gets to be a demon again and kill everybody. So he's coming down your chimney to kill you. So it's still Santa, but he's a demon coming to kill you. And yes, it is just as awful as you think it is.
I was going to say, I'm sitting here in stunned silence that this ever made it off of the napkin that it was drawn up on.
Yes.
Movies aren't cheap, people. Even the cheap movies aren't cheap.
Well, horror movies tend to be more cheap, but
still,
it's actually really awful. You should definitely watch it because it's awful. No, don't. Seriously, don't. But what you should do is watch the first 10 minutes of it.
Okay.
Because it is awesome. First 10 minutes of the people around the Christmas table, and Santa comes down and kills them all, is just awesome. Like, first 10 minutes, because the first 10 minutes has Chris Kattan and Fran Drescher.
Oh.
And Bill Goldberg comes down as Santa and kills them all. And it's kind of funny and hilarious and awesome. So, an honorable mention for the first 10 minutes of it because it is hilarious and awesome. The rest of the movie is totally forgettable and unwatchable. But watch the first 10 minutes because it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, since you're going to do an honorable mention, before we wrap up the naughty list of movies this year, let's do a dishonorable mention to a movie that neither of us have seen because we so remember the Siskel and Ebert review. And it's a movie called Mixed Nuts, stars Steve Martin and a whole bevy of other comedic actors that were just in their prime.
Yeah.
And would be holy cow, you think with the lineup that they have for this that it was going to be awesome. What we remember is the Siskel and Ebert review. Because in it, I can't remember who said what.
Yeah.
But
no, it was, I think that it was, Ebert said that he didn't even want to talk about it because it was so bad. He said, this is so bad, I don't even want to discuss it. And then Siskel jumped in with,
No, we have to talk about this movie and warn people because it's so awful. People think this is good unless we warn them. It's something thereabouts because of the things that I just mentioned there, that there was this cast of characters. I say Steve Martin, and I can't remember who else was in this. I'm going to bring it up real quick because it was such a bomb at the time. And it was, I don't know how else to say it, but it basically had all the people that you would want in the movie. Oh my gosh. And it was directed and written by Nora Ephron, who had been doing great movies too.
Right, Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, okay, so Steve Martin, Madeline Kahn, Rob Reiner was in it, Adam Sandler, Liv Schreiber, Parker Posey, Jon Stewart, you're listing off Christine Cavanaugh. Yeah, It had it just.
You got a great cast there.
You've got a great cast here, directed by somebody who's done films that have been a success.
They've been good movies.
They've been good movies to this time, and yeah, don't watch it. It was apparently phenomenally awful. And listen to your film critics sometimes. You don't have to listen all the time. But if two people come out saying...
But if both Siskel and Ebert...
If Siskel and Ebert ever panned a movie, it was basically like, okay, we've got the guy who enjoys kind of fun movies and the one who wants to take the highbrow route, both saying, no, don't see this. And they're listing off what sound like really good reasons to not see it. Not like pretentious kind of like, oh, just movies are too important to waste on this fluff. But like, no, you think it's going to be great because it has all this, but no, it's just a train wreck. You think it's going to be great? Yeah. So, if you want to watch any portion of Mixed Nuts, watch the Siskel and Ebert review. Go look it up on YouTube. It's actually really funny. So, that's our naughty list this year, and yeah, God, I don't even know if the word naughty quite covers it. That there's something a little less Christmassy about like god-awful pieces of crap that should be burned. But yes, naughty list and big fat lumps of coal. Well, I want to wrap up our Christmas special here with something a little different, something a little odd, something a little weird. So we're going to do a naughty and nice list for those weird Christmas shows that just will kind of half fall off the radar, not because they're that obscure horror film or whatnot, but because it's just like that's an interesting way of doing Christmas. That's odd. I guess that's Christmassy, and it can be joyful or horrible, but so we're going to do the joyful first, which obviously be the nice list. And for me, Christmas classic tradition is Frighteners. Actually, no. Well, that is a Christmas tradition.
That is, yeah.
That is an odd Christmas tradition in my house where we wrap Christmas presents on Christmas Eve while watching Frighteners. I don't know what you guys do, but that's best Christmas time.
I think that I think it started when our mom made her sister watch Frighteners, and it scared her half to death.
Yeah,
like she was pacing the floor, like holding onto her chest, of like, oh.
To be fair, at the beginning is kind of freaky.
I think that our mother thought was hilarious, and I think that might be part of the reason why we still do it, is because she thinks that it's hilarious that it freaked her sister out. There was that one Christmas where Auntie Susan was over and freaked her out, and I think that's why it ended up becoming a tradition.
Yeah, I think she went upstairs to wrap presents with Mom while we were finishing watching the movie. And to be fair, the beginning of the movie is kind of freaky.
It is a little. There's a cool special effect of the demon or like the evil spirit in the wall and like pushing through the wall, which it does have kind of like a little freaky bit to it.
Yeah. But anyway, another Christmas tradition I would say is I wrap Christmas presents to the Mystery Science Theater 3000 riff on Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, because by gosh, is that movie, you cannot watch that movie without the benefit of Three Little Shadows up front, because it is awful. And
I watched it a few times when I was a kid without the benefit of shadows.
Okay. But when you grew up,
I love Pia Zadora.
Okay. Barring Pia Zadora. But yeah, I think it is absolutely hilarious. I think it is one of the best. It's all of the cast of MST3K like on their best. It has some of the funniest riffs in the entirety of the original run. It was just like, like them asking, Joel asking the bots what they want for Christmas, and Crow saying, I want to decide who lives and who dies, and Joel's kind of deadpan pause, like, okay, I don't know if that's gonna, I don't know about that. And who can forget Tom Servo's immortal classic song, A Patrick Swayze Christmas? Yeah. Which, you gotta go out and YouTube that. It's basically the plot to Roadhouse to music. Yeah. And which is to say nothing of them sitting and riffing the film itself. Which is, I guess part of you might say, well, that's kind of a TV special, isn't it? It's like, well, it's kind of hard to classify MST3K as just a TV show because you're watching a movie along with a band of snarking, riffing people, which it's an experience. It's an oddball kind of experience because you're sitting there watching goofy skits in between guys watching a movie.
Yeah.
And making fun of the movie, which...
It's feature length. I'm going to count it as a movie.
Yeah, it's feature length, so I count it as a movie here because you're watching a movie. You're just watching it with the benefits of funny puppets and a guy.
Of making it amusing.
Of making it funny, making a bad movie funny. And yeah, really. If
Santa Claus Conquers the Martian on its own is kind of funny.
Yeah. Unintentionally hilarious. But if you watch it with the MST3K... With commentary, it's just... Yeah, I watch this every year, and I am like...
Definitely a classic.
I'm almost tears every time with just how hard I laugh. There's a scene with a polar bear. Polar bear in quotes, with one of the worst costume polar bear props I've ever seen. That still makes me laugh every time I see it. And a running commentary from Tom Servo during the thing, which every time I hear it, I laugh, just because the timing of the MST3 guys is always great. And this... Like I said, there's no better way to put it than it's them at top form.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen an MST3K episode, this is a great intro one because you don't need to know much about what's going on. There's also the invention exchange at the beginning where they're showing off their Christmas ideas, which is great too. So anyway, I guess that leads us on to the naughty list, which I can't think of a better way to put this than to quote the Angry Video Game Nerd, which is a YouTube personality, which some of you may have heard of, which is, what were they thinking? And that's a movie called Jack Frost, starring Michael Keaton.
Oh.
It's a movie about...
Wait, no, the horror one?
No, not the horror one. I've never seen the horror one, but... Oy.
With the evil snowman, right?
Gosh, no. No, well, funny enough, it does have a snowman that's come to life, but no.
No, evil snowman comes to life and it's killing people, right?
No, it doesn't kill people, sadly.
Wait, why am I not watching the one where the snowman kills people?
Well, you shouldn't be watching that one either, because it's probably awful too. But you shouldn't...
It is.
You should definitely not watch this one either, because even though it tries to sell itself as this heartwarming family tale, from beginning to end, it's just total WTF, and what were they thinking, and who...
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. That's the one where Michael Keaton plays harmonica.
Yes, it's Michael Keaton plays harmonica. He's like some sort of traveling band guy.
Yeah, he's a blues musician.
He's a blues musician who's never at home for the holidays, and he promises his son this year's going to be the year, and as he's driving home, he dies in a car accident. That's your beginning, people. The guy dies, and...
No, that's a perfect beginning to a heartwarming tale.
Yeah. Yeah, the father dies, the son's separated from his dad, that he never really got to know because he was never around that much. So what happens? Naturally, the dad comes back as a snowman, and...
An evil snowman?
No, not an evil snowman. And finally catches up and has quality time with his son that he never had before. And even back then, the CG looked dated.
They make good snowmen?
Yeah, they made good snowmen. Remember Frosty before they killed him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my magic hat, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, through Christmas magic, he comes back and possesses See, even it sounds like it should be a horror movie.
It's a horror movie. I swear I saw that horror movie.
A ghost of Michael Keaton takes over a snowman to come in and finally get the quality time with his son that he never had because he was too busy being a low-level blues musician traveling across the country. And I'm sorry, that's not heartwarming. That is the intro of a horror movie. Yeah. Because he does take, like, revenge, not stabby revenge, on the people who wrong his son. But, like, snowball throwing and funny, quote-unquote, hilarity ensues type pranks with the snowman. That's actually his dad come back to life. Are you getting this, people? This is what were they thinking?
Seriously disturbing.
This is seriously
it's supposed to be this heartwarming tale. It is so disturbing to watch.
Yeah. It's like, the snowman looks freaky. CG dated CGI aside, he looks creepy. Like the character design is creepy.
I think that's where the people that made Jack Frost got the idea for Jack Frost.
It probably
is because they watched Jack Frost and went, "Oh, hey, it looks like
we could do this as a horror movie." It could be a
horror movie.
Yeah.
And so then they made Jack Frost the horror movie because that was a horror movie.
Yeah, the funny thing is the Jack Frost, at least the one that's on the cover of the horror movie version, looks more comical.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say heartwarming, but it looks funny compared to the one on the Jack Frost with Michael Keaton. That one looks freaky. Kind of like, give me the one with the long bangs and teeth, because that guy looks like he's in just for a happy good time.
Yeah.
That kind of one with the leery, creepy pedo smile, he scares me. It's just, yeah, like, who greenlit this? I mean, really. Like, nothing's more heartwarming than the death of a beloved family member.
That comes back as snow.
That comes back as snow, so you know how this is going to end. There's only one way this can end. So it's just like, so he loses him and gets him back.
Frosty lost his hat one day.
Yeah, he loses his dad twice in the film, but it's okay the second time because they had quality time. This time around, it's all
quality time with bunny rabbit ears.
Quality time with big fat bunny ear quotation marks of. Yeah, like, the only time you get to spend with your dad is outside when it's, like, below freezing. Right. So you best bundle up, and he's never going to be able to give you that heartwarming hug.
Oh, let's play a game of catch with snowballs, because that's all we've got here, because I'm a snowman!
Yeah. It's just... I don't even...
It is really just the Michael Keaton as Snowman. Totally disturbing. But... the storyline is just depressing.
The storyline's depressing.
Like from Jump Street, you're talking depressing movie.
Yeah, I don't know why this. Yeah,
which is why it's become a holiday classic. And everyone watches it every year.
Yeah, you just sit there and stuns. I remember seeing...
Oh, sorry. Has nobody ever heard of this movie?
Yeah. No, it's one of those movies that truly makes your jaw drop through the entire thing, because you sit there locked in, pun coming, frozen shock at what you're seeing, and it's just not stopping, and it goes on for an hour and a half.
I'm not sure it made it to a second week of it. No,
all
weeks.
films.
I think it got 2 weeks.
All films have an obligatory 2 week run, but it made it its 2 weeks. Was dumped into the smallest house, at least at my theater, and then gone. This is one of those.
No, my theater, it made it the 2 weeks and was gone. I don't think it even made it to the smallest house.
Okay, but yeah, it was an abysmal failure when it came out. And can you imagine the pitch for this thing? Okay, so first off, Michael Keaton is a snowman. Why did the exec not say next? Can we get the next person in line, please? I need a real idea. But it is everything. It's not only is it everything that's like horrible about like a trying to cash in on Christmas spirit type of movie, but it takes it in such a bizarre direction.
Yeah.
This is truly. I don't know what we'll find next year for like weird Christmas, but this tops my list. And anytime that somebody mentions like, oh, I saw this really weird Christmas movie, I like say, oh, Jack Frost, and they'll bring up something else.
They just go, oh, well, how did you know?
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I think that it was just so bad. That is why they greenlit Ghost Rider. They're like, no, Snowman, no, we're going to greenlit a skeleton on fire. Because that is as far as we can think of from Jack Frost. Yeah. Like, we are going to do exactly the opposite. Yeah. Because that was awful.
I'd like to say, though, as a special note, that I'm glad that Michael Keaton has had a comeback recently with Birdman.
Birdman was awesome.
And that his career has not, like, horribly, career-endingly suffered from this kind of thing, because really he was in a lot of various movies around this time that some were hit or miss, but
yeah, and were kind of mediocre movies. They're just kind of doing his.
But this was like straight up, this was awful, and part of the draw was that it had Michael Keaton in it, because like his wife was a no name, the kid was a no name.
It was entirely Michael Keaton was carrying this film.
Even as a voiceover snowman, it was like it wasn't even animated.
He couldn't even carry it. Like, when Michael Keaton can't carry your character, no. But yes, I agree. I am glad to see like how great he could be again with Birdman. I've watched it a couple of times. I probably will watch it a few more.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, we've done the nice, we've done the naughty, we've done TV specials that were good and TV specials that should be buried and thrown away in the coal fire that you will have around this time.
But we didn't even mention Donnie and Marie.
We don't have to mention it. That's about as far as it goes. Maybe next year we can extol the awfulness, awful virtues. Yeah.
All of the sins committed by Donnie and Marie.
Yeah, really. So let's start. Thank you very much for joining us for our Christmas special. I don't think there's much more that we could say, naughty or nice. So, I'm Jester. And that's Lunchbox.
Merry Christmas to all.
And to all a good night. Toodaloo.